In overtime, Coach Layden developed strategy, but Isaiah Thomas went on a rampage. He and Andrew Toney combined for 14 points. The East won, and with 15 assists and 21 second-half points, Isaiah Thomas was chosen MVP.
This is the greatest, because on this day, it says that I was the best basketball player in the world, and that's a lot.
Isaiah Thomas was the man that day. But in 1984, the big name in the NBA was Johnson.
Men with the same last name. 13 Johnsons playing the game. All of them Johnsons shooting hoop. Too many Johnsons spoil the soup. You know and I know that pro b-ball is perhaps the roughest and the toughest game of them all. There's no two ways about it, it's a grueling sport. The hours are long, the career is short. It's difficult to make it in the NBA. Might have started today, the next day be far away. Possibly displaying for the folks in France the skills that he perfected for American fans. Or possibly demoted to the CBA because the dumb chump threw too many balls away. He might have split the scene with a ruptured spleen. Or quit pro ball to coach a college team. He might have parlayed his fame into calling the game for the crowd who call b-ball on the TV screen. Now doesn't all of this commotion raise considerable doubt as to who was in and who was out? It's impossible to keep track of the players who are hot, cause now they're here and next they're not. Just to show you what I mean, now please don't scream. There's 13 different Johnsons on as many different teams. 13 Johnsons playing ball. After the chorus, I'll name them all. 13 Johnsons playing the game. 13 men with the same last name. All of them fellows shooting hoop. Too many Johnsons spoil the soup. Irvin is the man, Pops do the mind. If some magic is required when the Lakers are behind. He's only human but behaves by honor. Used to play with Clay, but Clay's gone supersonic. There's two Eddie Johnsons and they make me laugh. You can't tell one from the other when they sign their autograph. One plays for the Hawks, one plays for the Kings. The Georgia guy guards and the Kansas cat swings. One of them has got a bro, his family is hot. On the bullets, Frank will beat you with a three-point shot. Two Georges as well. One highly rated, the other's been deactivated. There were two Johnson Sixers in '83, a Philly front court duality. Now Clement is big, he's huge, he's wide. Reggie got his high New Jersey fight. Vinny is the man up in the Motor City. He can play all day, but he ain't pretty. A beefy bull, first name was Steven. He was traded to Chicago in the middle of the season. Well, that makes 10, but two more remain. There's a Mickey and a Marcus playing in this game. A defensive menace on the parquet floor. That's a Celtics Dennis getting down for the score. 13 men with the same last name. 13 Johnsons playing the game. 13 men with the same last name. 13 Johnsons playing the game. 13 men with the same last name. 13 Johnsons playing the game. 13 men with the same last name. 13 Johnsons playing the game. 13 men with the same last name. 13 Johnsons playing the game.
You play in the NBA to be the champion. The ambition and drive of the regular season is heightened as past victories are recalled and players eye the future. Each year, history is made, and the NBA title becomes a quest. In 1983, Julius Erving and the Philadelphia 76ers finally got their rings. But as the 1984 playoffs began, it had been 15 years since a team had repeated as champions. The Sixers' opening round opponent were the up-and-coming New Jersey Nets, and the first game was immediately a shocker. Led by a revitalized Michael Ray Richardson, the Nets stunned the Sixers by winning by 15 points in Philadelphia. In the second game, the Sixers were sloppy, and the opportunistic Nets pulled off another double-digit victory. The young Nets, who had never won even a single playoff game in their NBA history, were psyched for the upset. Veteran 76ers were looking old. The Nets had captured the attention of the entire sports world with their ambition and drive, and returning to New Jersey, it was no joke to think of a sweep. Poor foul shooting kept the Nets within sight, and led by Mo Cheeks, the champion Sixers finally pounced on their young prey, taking Game 3 and regaining their faltering confidence. Game 4 was more of the same, and coach Stan Auerbach watched helplessly as his Nets were blown off the court by the rejuvenated Sixers. Moses Malone, who had been injured, came to life, and the Sixers were again supremely confident.
The pressure is on the Nets, and they've had success in Philadelphia. That should be a confidence factor for them, but they're not going to win in Philadelphia, so mail in the stats.
The series continued down the Jersey Turnpike to Philadelphia, where the Sixers felt they had the muscle to turn back the upstart Nets. But the Philly muscle was hurting and aging, and with Malone's knees aching, there was some question about them standing the test of time. Not to worry, these were champions. They knew how to win, and the Nets were just kids. With this basket, Mo Cheeks, who had a brilliant series, put the Sixers up by 7 with 7 minutes to play. It seemed all but over, and Auerbach needed something, anything, to avert the inevitable. But led by the resurgent Michael Ray Richardson, the Nets climbed back. Michael Ray was the driving force, and it was the veteran Sixers who uncharacteristically turned the ball over. When Albert King tapped in this Otis Birdsong rebound, he sent the Sixers home for the summer. An amazing achievement, dethroning the defending NBA champions, beating them 3 times on their home court. In other Eastern action, the New York Knicks and Detroit Pistons split a pair. In Game 3, Bernard King scored 46 points, canning shots from all over the floor, playing with inspired intensity and pacing the Knicks to victory. New York needed one more win to advance, and coach Hubie Brown wanted it at home. But in Game 4, it was Isaiah Thomas. His 22 spectacular points and 16 assists, along with 42 points from Kelly Tripucka, sent the series back to Detroit and pumped up the Pistons for the showdown in Motown. Joe Louis Arena was the site of this heavyweight battle, and Bernard King went for the knockout. He gave the Knicks a 3-point lead with only seconds remaining. But Isaiah Thomas would not let the Pistons lose. His 3-point jumper knotted the game. He scored an incredible 16 points in the final 94 seconds to send the game into overtime. OT was more of the same. Despite playing with the flu, Bernard King set a new 5-game playoff scoring record, and his points were decisive, averaging over 42 a game. Isaiah tried to keep pace, and for a while he did. But when he and Lane Beer fouled out, Bernard and the Knicks put the game away. Pistons coach Chuck Daly didn't want to throw in the towel, but the Knicks took this fight on point.
This is by far the most exciting game and the biggest game I've ever played in as a professional athlete. And it was fun because we won.
In round 2, the Boston Celtics held a 3-2 lead when the Knicks returned to Madison Square Garden, needing a win to stay in the hunt. The Knicks got off early, playing tenacious defense and being led by Bernard King, who was having one of those nights. Bernard hit for 18 points in the first quarter, and at the half had 29. However, with 6 seconds left, the Knicks led by only 2. But when Larry Bird missed this shot and Cedric Maxwell the follow-up, the Knicks pushed the series to a deciding 7th game. Boston Garden was ready for the matchup. The Celtics had been devastating at home, and the fans expected the best. Boston ran off to a 10-point first-quarter lead as the Knicks threw the ball away, and Larry Bird paced them with 28 points in the first half alone. The Celtics defense finally stopped Bernard King, limiting him to 7 points before halftime and neutralizing him till the game was out of reach. But the game especially belonged